Welcome back, everyone, to the Stage for the podcast. I am your co-host, Jay Coleman.
And I am your other co-host, Steph Laffy.
And as always, we just want to thank you for rocking with us on this podcasting journey called like Introverts Talking Stuff in these internet streets.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I don't even have anything to say right now other than the fact that my mind is already in a pretzel, which is, like, we haven't even started talking and we're already pretzeling, because, not good, because we are joined tonight by another incredible woman with the same name as me, Steph Laffy.
We're all incredible.
How are you today?
I'm great,
Laffy
thanks.
here. The Laffy here is Steph Laffy the second.
Yeah. The initiate.
So we are essentially here to find out who is the other Steph Laffy.
Yeah, who is this stranger?
I need to know.
We're actually here to find out how long it'll take Jay to get confused by which Steph he's talking to, but sure. That too.
That's important too.
You're definitely the first I've encountered in the wild, as they say. Also, so fun.
Yeah. So I guess we should start with how we connected. So I'd love to hear the story from your side, but from my side, I don't really scroll on Threads at all. I'm not a social media scroller. I'm just a oversharer, if you will.
I love it.
So one day, one day I'm scrolling on Threads, which again I never do, and the first post, literally the first post that I see, and when I scroll, it's usually a sign that I need to take a break. So I'm scrolling, the very first post I see is somebody named Steph Laffy, and I'm like, it's not me. What's going on?
Double check. You're not sleep posting.
I'm like, did I post this?
She was
and
hacked.
Another post, yeah, and it says something about how you had just taken a break from social media, and how it was like a month off or whatever, and you just love taking a month off, and you're back, and I was like, I feel really called out right now. I don't know what to do with this. So I actually commented and I said, hi, this is weird, but my name is Steph Laffy too. And this is exactly the message that I needed today because I need to sign off. I was like, what the hell? So that's how we connected.
Yeah, I remember it the same. I had just come back the month that I was away. It was an unintentional time off. I wish I could say that I was so good at disconnecting that I selected a time off for a month at home, but I was because I was so distracted for a month in India that I was too busy living my life for a month to have time to like get into the scroll, because I'm the same. When I'm in a heavy scroll mode, it's because I need a break or I'm feeling anxious in some fashion.
Right.
I do actually think it's an introvert mode thing where I just like need a distraction from the overwhelm. So I remember checking Threads because I hadn't posted in a really long time and being like, this is a sign of some kind that it's time to return to the social media game.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh
I felt like an
God.
imposter though, because my last name isn't actually Laffy. Like I feel like I need to come clean.
Okay.
My nickname is Laffy.
Okay.
Yeah. You forgive me?
It's okay, Steph. It's okay. You're forgiven. You're allowed to go by whatever you want to call yourself. But okay, so your name is Lafferty. Is that your married name or is that your maiden name?
Laffy's a nickname that I've had for like since I was a teenager. So all of my closest friends call me Laffy. So when I started my business 5 or so years ago, and I kind of had to pick an alter ego, let's say, it just felt like the most obvious choice. And I've rolled with it ever since. So now my clients call me Laffy. So it has kind of like taken on my name, but on my birth certificate, it's not what it says.
Okay. Well, actually, so I guess I'm kind of an imposter then too, because I was born Steph Yellen, like that's what my birth certificate says, and I married a Laffy, so you were Steph Laffy first, I guess, even if you're.
Yeah, so
Jay,
LaForest is my real last name. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it actually goes back to what I was saying. Oh, go on.
So I guess I called you the OG Steph Laffy, so I guess it's now she the OG Steph Laffy?
I don't know. So
real life Steph Laffy.
Real life Steph Laffy?
I think I was telling you before we jumped on that I think many of the parents naming their children that were born in the 90s decided Steph was a good name. So I used to work in restaurants pretty much exclusively, and there would always be at least 3 Stephs working at the restaurant. So Laffy became my nickname. So rather than Steph, I was called Laffy because I'm a very easily amused person. So I laugh a lot. So Laffy was. Yeah.
That's so funny.
But
Oh, go ahead, Doug.
No, I'm still very much confused because again I thought that the new Steph Laffy was the sequel, but it appears that she's actually the prequel.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm very easily amused as well, so I guess we have that in common. I was originally Stephanie Yellen. I was never really a yeller, but I don't know.
Yeah, my actual last name is LaForest, so my last name is actually of the forest, basically, direct translation, and I don't live in the woods.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I think Laffy seems to suit us both. I love that. I love the name for both of us. I approve. Not that you were looking for it.
It doesn't hurt.
But what was I going to say? So I actually had a crazy experience recently, and I think I was telling you about this in the DM stuff. So my aunt recently sent me a text message, and she said, "Hi, I just Venmo'd you birthday money." So I was like, "Oh, that's so nice. I didn't get it." And I'm like, okay. She's like, "Oh, I Venmo'd Steph Laffy." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, like I'm so sorry. Like I appreciate it. Like don't worry about don't worry about it. But like I don't want to say thank you if I didn't receive the Venmo." And she somehow got in touch with Steph Laffy 3.
There's a third Steph Laffy out there?
Yeah, she's the real original.
We're going to get her on next year. Yeah. She sent the money back right away, and I was like, you know what? What a great lady. I am honored to share a name with her, too.
Do either of y'all watch Orphan Black, or have you seen Orphan Black?
What's that?
It's like a show, basically it's about clones, and this woman finds out she's a clone, and then as you get deeper into the series, she finds out there's like 12 clones. So I'm just so I'm just curious, how many of y'all are out there?
I'll find them. I'll find them all.
Let's find them all.
You're a magnet, apparently.
Get them on the show.
Apparently. And the crazy part is that I only met you like a couple weeks ago, maybe. So it's like there's something in the water. When's your birthday?
January 28th, 1990.
Okay. All right. So you are definitely the original.
Yeah. We should just call me old.
No. I realized that that's how it came off.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It doesn't bother me.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
Take a lot more than that.
So yeah. Okay, good. I appreciate it. Okay, so tell us more about yourself, Steph Laffy. I want to know everything. You don't have to give us the central.
It works. All right. Like I was saying,
I hope I don't creep you out.
Who is OG Steph Laffy?
All right. Well,
that's the episode title. Who is Steph Laffy?
Another distinction might be that I don't think we've talked about this yet, but I'm Canadian, so I'm a Canadian Steph Laffy. So
Wow.
I
Okay.
live.
Another Canadian Steph.
Oh God. Yeah. So we had our first. I don't mean to say that like that. Like, I love Canada. One of
Mhm.
my favorite people is from Canada, but her name is Steph, and she was also on the podcast, and Jay was very confused. Um,
Okay, well,
Not
I
as
and now
live
we
confused
in
as
have
I am now.
another Steph.
Yeah. So the very reason I bring it up is that the reason that I have a business. So let's start there. So
Mhm.
like the month I took off to go to India was because for the last like 4 years or so, I've gotten really deep into my identity became my business basically. So
Mhm.
my theme for this year was to get a life ultimately. So my boyfriend is from his family is from India originally. So I went to India with his mom for a month for the month of February,
Oh,
and
that's his mom?
just his mom. Yeah,
That's
it's really
Wow.
interesting.
great. I know. I know. I get really diverse reactions when I bring that up with people. They're like,
I mean,
okay.
that can go several ways.
I knew what I was getting into.
Fair enough.
And it was
Okay.
great. It was great. I had a blast. But in the years prior to that, I had been working pretty nonstop for about 4 years. So this year has been kind of a pivot point for me, which is really, really, really fun. But it's all started when I moved to northern Canada, actually, which is like
Mhm.
there wasn't much to do. So I used to only work in the service
Okay.
industry. So the only other career I've ever had was as a bartender and waitress, which I loved and I did that for about a decade. And then my partner, he got a job in northern Saskatchewan. He works on helicopters. And we moved there and there were no bars for me to tend. So I,
No bars to
and
tend.
honestly, like people, when I tell people that all there really was a grocery store and we lived in like a national park, they kind of feel sorry for me. But I think other introverts will maybe understand in the sense that I loved the hermit. I went full hermit. I think
That's the
after 10
that's
years of
I
that's the
love that.
dream. Like what?
it was the
Like
best. So yeah,
just
within
I
four
don't see a
years, like
problem.
yeah,
yeah. I'm
exactly.
trying to figure out what the problem was.
Yeah, I
You
feel
have
like I've
everything
entered
you need.
recovery mode. Yeah, I entered recovery mode after 10 years of working in restaurants, I think, where you have to be extra social, which to be fair,
Mhm.
I am like deeply introverted and hermit like. So if I had never worked in restaurants, I think I would have no social skills. So it trained me. But after a decade of doing that, I like went deep into hermit mode for about 3 years and started my business in that
Wow.
time. So I started posting a blog just for fun because I finally had the brain space and the energy that I'd been giving to social interactions with strangers, which is our worst nightmares.
Right.
And that's kind of how it snowballed. So I was living in the middle of nowhere, got a couple of dogs, and was just like writing in my office and came back with a full-time business. So I never went back to restaurants after
Wow.
that, which was great. Mhm. And now here we
That's
are.
awesome.
Not in
Wow.
northern Canada.
Where?
We have left northern Canada.
All right.
Yeah, I was wondering, where are you? Where are you now?
So I'm just outside of Ottawa, so a small town outside of
Oh,
Ottawa.
okay. Okay.
Born and
Very
raised. So
cool.
I grew up here, and then we moved away for about 3 or 4 years, and then we've ended up
Mhm.
outside of here, which is really great.
Okay. And is your boyfriend from that area too?
He's closer. He's from the Toronto area more so, but he came here for school
Okay.
and just never left.
Okay.
hmm
Interesting.
I love that. That's
Then he met
awesome.
me, and
Awesome.
now he's trapped
Um,
because we have
he met you. I love
yeah.
that.
We went to northern Canada with no dogs, and we came back with 4 dogs. So now
Yeah.
we can't
Oh.
we can't depart. It's like a classic divorce type situation. We're just staying in one place.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my God. So you also have multiple dogs. So
Mhm.
everybody tells me I'm crazy.
Oh no.
I only have two, but I'm working my way up.
I just applied to be a foster this weekend.
Oh
Nice.
my
Dog sitter.
gosh.
I feel like once you have
Wow.
more than two, it just becomes your
Yeah.
normal to have loads of dogs. It all becomes white
Right.
noise, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do they get along?
Great. like sisters. They're all girls, so they'll bicker a
Okay.
little.
They're all good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
What
they
kind of
get along
dogs
great.
are there?
Okay.
So we got Nala is she's like a 90-pound German Shepherd Husky mix. They're all Husky in some combination because Northern Canada,
Okay.
stereotypically
Right.
Husky. That's an
Makes
accurate
sense.
stereotype. Um, and then Border Collie Husky mix, so the slightly smaller one. And then we've got like some sort of terrier, and then a small like golden retriever one, which was Nick was leaving
Wow.
Northern Saskatchewan and stopped at the hardware store, and there was a puppy that needed a home. We almost made it out with 3 dogs instead of 4. Came home
Oh
with a
my
puppy.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have 2 Frenchies, so I feel like,
Oh, cute.
once you pick your breed, you kind of stick to it. So it sounds like you picked your Huskies. I have my Frenchies.
Oh,
I have
my
no dogs yet.
mixed. It's a commitment. I love my dogs, but anytime somebody asks me if they should get a dog, I tell them to think it through thoroughly. It is a big life choice.
Oh yeah, it becomes like your life. I'm like I was invited to a birthday party this weekend, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I can leave the dogs for that long. My friend's like, are you kidding me? Like, who are you?
Yeah. Like getting puppies.
Well, there goes my camera.
Steph fell over.
I'm here. I'm
There
alive. Yeah, I feel like I got the puppy and I just became a hermit.
It was
do the
definitely
opposite.
conducive to my, I think in that time away, I just like really leaned into myself in a way I hadn't, in a combination with the dogs, which gave me permission to not go anywhere. And then, because I was like, no, I'm being social, I need to be with the puppy. And then being obsessed with my business, and it kind of like, I think it was a double-edged sword a little bit there, because I had nothing else to focus on but my business. That it's now been, since the 2 years that I've moved back, has been hard to kind of exit that, and it feels wrong to not, and easier, of course, as introverts, for me to just stay home. I'm like, no, I can't. I can't go to that social gathering that I haven't, like, I lost all those, like, the muscle, because it is, right? Like, I don't know if it is for you guys, but for me, it's a muscle. If I don't go do social things, I dread it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like it's funny because you would think that my social battery would be, I find that if I just go and keep going, I'm okay. I can socialize. But like if I take a week off, it's like I forget how to talk and like forget how to like interact. So I'm like, so like, yes, I need to recharge, but I can't recharge for too long because then I just overcharge and it's, I don't know.
100%. You get too comfy.
Yeah.
Like, I was just telling Mick, and this is not a lesson that I want to maintain. It's just something I was thinking of. So I took a weekend off for the first time in a long time, which was good. It's a step in the right direction. But then it was hard for me to get back into it today because I was like, no, cozy. But I've got to just train that muscle, I think. It's an excuse.
Oh, absolutely. I think also, I mean, I don't know how the weather is up there, but I feel like once it starts to get warmer, my brain like works for less and less time during the week. It could also just be because I'm dreaming about the beach.
Are we in snow parts of the United States, I presume?
Yeah, so I am in New York City. So I'm about 2 hours, I guess, depends on how you look at it. I'm like an hour from the beach to like 3.
Yeah, the snow's just melting now, basically. It's getting hot now.
Really?
Well, that's true. Okay. It's just getting hot now.
What does hot mean? Yeah, what does hot mean for you?
It was 8 degrees today. Celsius. We're in Celsius. I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit. I could not.
I'm going to do a little calculus. I don't know. It sounds...
That's one of those facts that you don't need to retain, I don't think.
I try. I really try because I work at a company that is global. So everybody in the world except for the United States is on Celsius. So people are like, oh, it's 30 degrees. I'm like, oh, are we happy about that? Like, what does that mean?
30 degrees is great. It's actually too hot.
Right, like I don't know what to like. Great, but I feel like a lot of people like. Do you know Fahrenheit or
No,
no?
it would be the same. If
Okay,
somebody I couldn't even tell you what a normal
right.
Fahrenheit number is
Yeah,
for
if it was
temperature.
8 degrees Fahrenheit is that's my hermit temperature. Cold, very
It's very
cold.
cold.
I think it's like. Jay, do you know the
I don't.
version?
I do not.
Okay.
You're typing. He's Googling
Of course I
it.
don't, but that's what we do. Listen, look, we have the internet. We don't have to know anything.
That's fair.
That's true.
Save the brain
That is
space.
Exactly. And 8 degrees Celsius
Okay.
is 46.4 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, so that's not beach weather.
No. It's not hot. It's not
Yeah.
hot. But after
Okay.
winter, it's
That's
not
like nice.
cold.
That's a nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Mhm.
It's my dream.
Nice. So I'm curious, like, what do you do other than? So I know that you have your business, and have you traveled other than India or just to India?
Yes. So I used to travel almost exclusively. So
Mhm.
I would say for like most of my 20s, I was traveling nonstop. So that's why I worked in restaurants for so long, because it allowed me so much like
Right.
independence, and like you can take time off and you just find another job or you come back to the same job. It doesn't really matter. So I would work for 6 months and then leave for 6 months type of idea. And then
Wow. Okay.
eventually I kind of just felt like I was lacking a sense of purpose, kind of, let's say. Like it just didn't feel like enough drive. I think as you get older, you also start to worry about the logical things of like, am I just going to be a traveling, I'm not going to be an influencer.
Right.
Don't
Right.
do not have the
That
capacity
would
for
be
that.
hard as an introvert, I
Yeah,
would imagine.
it's not my life path, let's say. So eventually I ended up going back to school for book publishing.
Mhm.
So I thought I was going to be,
Oh, wow.
I'm a book nerd, 100 big time. I'm surrounded at all
Wow.
times. So I
Oh
ended up
my
going back to
gosh.
school for book publishing it was just a 2-year program, and exited that as I was moving to Northern Canada. So when I started building my business, I thought I was going to be an editor or something to that fashion. But when
Mhm.
I moved out there and became obsessed with my business is when I kind of stopped traveling a little bit, because we got
Okay.
dogs, the doggies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And because
Yeah,
of
the dogs make it hard to travel,
it does.
for
And
sure.
Mick, my partner, he is gone, or used to be anyway, gone kind of randomly for work. So it was hard for me to be able
Mhm.
to, living in the middle of nowhere where we had no family and stuff like that, for me to be able to
Right.
kind of just up and go. So kind of put a pause
Okay.
on that for a little while, but it's starting to pick up again this year. So we went to, so during that time I did lots of Asia and Australia and places like that, and Ireland. And then
Wow.
this last year I went to Spain and India this year, I guess, technically.
Nice.
Wow.
Love traveling.
That's awesome. So now I can just say Steph Laffy as well traveled, and I won't be lying, but they just won't know that. I'm not talking about myself. That we are definitely different in that regard. I haven't really been anywhere.
Is it because you
So
like
I
being
guess
a homebody?
no, I'm just lazy.
Honestly, like that's it for me as well. It's like it's like I want to go places.
Yeah,
I
I
just
want to
that
go.
I gotta look up hotels and I gotta look up flights and then I gotta figure out exchange rates and then I gotta figure out what to wear and
Yeah.
then there's like 10 other things and LeBron has a ball, so I'm gonna go watch that and that and that's that. But it's like
There's
Yeah.
definitely a time and a place for the travel. I'm definitely not a planny person, generally
Mhm.
speaking, but
Oh,
with
you're like
travel,
more of a jump.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm more of a book the flights find places to
and just
stay.
go.
I will say, like, knowing where I have to go once I get off a plane. Like, I'm not. Let's not paint me as like a free spirit.
So I have a
fearless free spirit.
I have a
but yeah, so I just like don't plan a lot of stuff. So when I travel with people that do like planning, I actually don't. I try not to because we don't.
Okay.
Travel safe.
I have a question for, I guess, for both Stephs, because I kind of want your opinion on this. I saw this on TikTok. A gentleman, I think he was from England, from Great Britain, and he was over here in the States. And I guess one of the things that apparently not just folks in England or Europe, I guess the world, outside the U.S. say that Americans aren't well traveled. They just the majority of us don't really leave the U.S. And he was like, that may be true, but have you seen the U.S.? Like the U.S. is freaking big. Like you can drive 5 hours in California and still be in California, whereas you can drive, and that's very true because I used to live out there. You can drive 5 hours in California and still be in California. Same in New York.
And Ontario, the province I'm from.
Yeah, like you can drive 5 hours and be in like 3 or 4 different countries by the time you're done.
Right.
He was saying, I guess people in Europe and other countries, like they go to different countries to vacation, whereas Americans go to a different state to vacation because it's so different from state to state, which it's kind of true. But I kind of want to know your thoughts, because I'm inclined to agree. Like not so much that we don't want to travel or we don't feel the need to travel, but it's just that there's just so much land here. Just like if we don't travel, like that's the reason, because the U.S. is just so big. There's just so much to do, so many places to go in this country. I don't know if people who aren't from the U.S. or haven't been to the U.S. understand just how big this country is, and just how diverse I guess the country is. Like New York and New Jersey are close, but they're not really the same. There's like different cultures. Like Brooklyn and Queens are different cultures. Like it's totally different, and like they're in the same landmass. Brooklyn, Queens and Manhattan are different cultures. So I don't know if people necessarily appreciate that. So I kind of want to know both Steph's thoughts on this.
I'll let
OG Steph Laffy.
Sure. I'd be curious to know if this is like a real fact or if this is a classic TikTok thought. But
that's a fair question. That is a fair question.
But I would agree. Like a lot of people in Europe end up going to different countries on the weekend. So like they live in the UK and they'll go to Paris for a weekend because it's
easy,
that close. Yeah. Whereas for us, like in North America, generally speaking, I would say, like it is like you were saying, like it's something that you plan and you save for and and all of that good stuff. So I definitely do think you need to have to really want it. I also think that with the digital world that we live in, you can explore a lot of these countries without actually going there. Now, is it the same? No. But I also think that we glamorize, or maybe not glamorize, but like we put a lot of pressure on people should want to travel. And I've come to realize over the years that I have lots of friends that aren't big on traveling. Of course, I have lots of friends who are, but some people just like to chill where they're comfortable at home and visit, like you were saying, other states or other provinces. So Canada's huge too. And it takes like, I'm not sure exact, but like, for instance, I used to live in northern Saskatchewan, which is a couple provinces over, and it would take us like 4 days to drive.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, I believe it. It's huge.
So I think, I don't know, TikToks like that sometimes feels troublesome to me.
Oh, it's very troublesome. Like, you definitely have to fact check. But I think in this case, I would say it was a real thing because, I'm obviously born and raised in America, so I can kind of vouch for what he was saying. But you're right. You have to like take things with a grain. It's nuanced, and it really is fact checking, because you'll go on TikTok and see, this celebrity is dead, and he's not. It's just somebody went yeah, somebody
Someone's
went on
bored.
Canva and put this picture there, and then added some sad music and scary text, and now everybody's thinking that the celebrity is dead. And he's like, no, dumbass, I'm home. I'm home. I'm
I
chilling.
also think like you have to consider like population size and things like that. So I wonder, like the amount of people in the States, like from a statistical perspective, versus like a smaller country in Europe, let's say. Obviously, there are going to be fewer people that travel from the States. But I also think like the amount of influencers there are today, I find it hard to believe that there aren't quite a few people from the States traveling and making it their living to travel right now.
Absolutely. Well, you guys are making me feel less sad about not being very. I mean, I've been to 20. How many states? I'm just kidding. I know how many states there are. There's 50. I've been to 20, 24 or 25 maybe, so half of them. So I guess, you know, TikTok guy. I've been to 25 states. I'm pretty well traveled.
The only place I get pushy with this is when people tell me they want, and by pushy, I mean lovingly pushy, is when they tell me they want to travel, but they're just nervous about it.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely, will not negate the nerves. Like, because of course, like you have, like anything else, if you've never done it before, it's going to feel unnerving or like a lot. But as somebody who's been through that, I like know what's on the other side if it's something that you desire to do, but I don't think it's something you have to do in order to have like crushed life, you know, like you don't have to be on your deathbed and be like, I traveled to 80 countries. I want, you know?
Yeah. I'm a homebody for sure. I just like I've been to Israel, so it's not like I've never been anywhere. Like Israel's pretty far. I've never been to Europe though. That's gonna change next year for a wedding. So it's like people just have to like give me the incentive. I'm probably never gonna like get up and go on my own. Who knows? Maybe that'll change. But like if somebody I love invites me to go to Italy for a wedding, am I gonna say no?
Oh, you're gonna love it. I love Italy.
Nice.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
I'm so excited. We're gonna make it our anniversary gift to ourselves as well.
Amazing. What part of Italy?
Yeah. I don't know. All I know is she's like, you're gonna be at my wedding, right? I'm like, where is it? She's like, Italy. I'm like, okay, as long as we're still friends.
Well, I like this about you.
Just kidding.
I'd be the same.
I'll be there anyway.
I'd ask very few questions. And tell me what airport.
When and where.
Great. My ticket.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I think for me,
exactly.
not so much that I get nervous. I think because here, you know, it's so expensive just going from like one state to a different state. You just sometimes feel, or at least I feel, that if it costs this much to go from one state to another state, what's it going to cost to go from one country to another country? But I think once you get past that, you realize that no, it's not always that. It's just that the U.S. really is just very freaking expensive for no apparent reason. I think, and I've seen that, you know, once you get to Europe, for example, like you can actually country hop, you know, fairly affordably, as opposed to spending, you know, your entire mortgage just trying to go from New York to Miami. Yeah, Miami, exactly.
I actually don't know what
I don't think I'll be going back to Miami.
No.
Miami somehow in a weekend costs more than going to Portugal. We've priced it out many times, and every time I go to Miami, I'm like, I could have gone to Portugal like 4 times for this one trip.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Is it because the hotels are really expensive?
I don't know. Miami just is like a black hole for your money. It's insane. It's like one bite of a nacho is like $250.
Hotels are.
Wasn't even that good.
Yes, hotels can be very expensive here. Like I'm going to California later in the year. I'm actually taking a train ride across country to California, so I'm looking forward to that.
Wow.
Yes,
oh, cool.
I'm looking forward to that. But hotels are like crazy. You know, 4 days in a hotel is probably going to cost about $1,000. And that's what, 6 months out. 7 months out. So imagine trying to get a hotel like the week of in California. It's gonna be crazy.
No.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
nuts. Oh my
And Europe
God.
is definitely
Is it
expensive too.
expensive? Yeah. I
Yeah.
was gonna say, is it expensive in Canada?
Well, it's all relative, right? So, like, if you guys came to
Hmm.
Canada, it probably wouldn't feel that expensive because of the US dollar
Yeah.
conversion. Like, so I
Oh,
think,
I
like,
love going to Canada
yeah,
for that reason.
it's like double, right? Ultimately, basically, a lot of the time,
Mhm.
or it feels that way for me anyway. So I think it's all relative. Like, anybody that you're from Europe comes to Canada, it's the same, right? So, um,
Right.
but yeah, things have gotten more expensive. Um,
Mhm.
but they feel less expensive than when I travel to other countries,
Fair enough.
for instance.
Right.
Unless you go somewhere like
Okay.
Asia. Australia is similar to our dollar, but if you go
Okay.
to Europe or the States, things start to feel more expensive because I have in my brain I've got to be like doubling it to be safe. Like, so this is actually
Mm.
the Starbucks coffee. This
Well,
one.
I will
Okay.
say that I
Yeah.
love Canada and Australia because a big part of my customer base is in both countries. So thank you guys. Shameless
Nice.
shameless
What kind of
plug.
work do you do?
As I was saying. Shameless
So they make clothes.
Oh,
Listen, I just
cool.
figured since we're on the
Yeah.
topic of Canada and Australia, I just wanted to show my love for my customers out there. I, I
I
appreciate
love
I
it.
appreciate I
We have very
appreciate y'all.
similar
Yes,
temperaments.
I appreciate y'all
Yeah.
so much. I actually got an order today from Canada. I'm happy about it. Um, yes.
Amazing.
Wow. Is that why you love Canada today so much?
Listen, Canada and Australia have been very good to your boy. So I'm very I'm very appreciative of Canada and Australia and every other country who may show interest in procuring some procuring some shirts.
Just start pitching call
Yes,
outs on the
all
podcast
all
as part
all
of your
nations
business.
are
I
welcome.
love
I love you all.
it.
I love it.
Especially if you buy his
Even
shirt
if you
Yeah,
don't,
and stuff.
but
especially.
especially if you do.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. So Steph, I want to you talked a lot about your business and you said you're obsessed with it, which means I want to know all about it. Like tell us all
Yes.
about your business.
So I've kind of stumbled my way through my business. So it's actually really interesting because I feel like I'm not the type of person to title myself, really.
Mhm.
But if we were, I am a copywriter and let's say like a writing mentor. So a lot of last year, I ended up spending it coaching inside of group programs. Messaging programs, but this year I've come back to my roots sort of thing, and I'm working a lot with one-on-one clients in from scratch copy capacity, but a lot of done with you. So helping people write for their businesses rather than
Mm.
doing it for them. Because again, introvert life, I'm tired, if I'm being honest. Like the creativity
Yeah.
it takes to write for somebody else, I just don't
Right.
have it in me the way I did right now. Anyway, so
Okay.
so I do a lot of like brand voice stuff. So helping people say what they really want to say in their businesses ultimately and like gaining the confidence to show up on whatever platform feels good to them in whatever way feels good to them and be able to say it in a way that people are going to one, understand and two, connect with. So it's been really
Oh,
fun.
I love that.
And it's kind of how I started. So like when I moved to Northern Canada, it all started with me just committing to myself that I was going to post things on the internet once a week, a blog a week. No one was reading them, which was fine, but it was so scary to me because I had never done it before. And I still to
Yeah.
this day tell all my clients in the done with you capacity that like it's the best muscle I ever built for this world because now I can post thoughts on the internet without thinking twice about it. But it takes practice and it takes time.
Yes.
And I think like accountability a little bit. I was able to maintain accountability with myself, but it's because no one was paying attention to me. Like I didn't
Yeah.
know any better than to be freaked out by it. Um,
Right.
but yeah, so that's ultimately where I've come back to this
Awesome.
past year,
I
which has
love
been really
Do
that.
you
great.
feel that kind of where you
That's
are in
awesome.
your business fits your introversion?
I've actually had to play with this. So I ended last year like a little burnt out because I did the group coaching thing and because I care so much, it took a lot of energy to like put it into in a group capacity. So a lot of people all at once for like a 6-month spurt. And I got to the end of that kind of realizing that it's not for me because of that. So like it was really hard for me to turn off. Um, and it wasn't enough time for me to recharge like the introvert battery. So this year has been really about me again, like getting a life, which part of that looks like capacity wise with clients. Like, so the one-on-one is definitely more my style because I can control more of like the gaps I'm going to have in between clients. Gives me more time to recharge, but also the next step would definitely be more of like scalable type offers that don't require as much time for me. But last year was an
Okay.
experiment. We learned from the
Hmm.
experiment. We're moving on. Yeah.
Yeah, the experiments are like I think the most important thing. Like otherwise
Definitely.
you'll never find like where you're meant to be.
Hmm.
Um, I love that. I
Yeah.
love
And I
that you're
think
able to like find yourself.
definitely. And I think having worked in restaurants for so long proved to me that just because I'm introverted doesn't mean I can't
Right.
push myself. Like I don't want to. I definitely most days, but it doesn't mean I can't do it. So like I've tried really hard to
Right.
not use my introversion. It's been a balancing. I'd love to hear your own journeys with it, but like finding the balancing act between like getting too comfy in my introvert comfort zone and then also like not using it as an excuse and like what is that like, line that I want to walk and maybe it's seasonal,
Mhm.
I guess that could be a thing. Um,
Oh my God,
um,
yeah.
but that's where I'm at
I
right
become
now.
such a hermit in the
I
winter.
guess like
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it's interesting because I basically built my brand on or built my brand around being introverted. So like my company is called Sincerely an Introvert, and I create uh, introvert related clothing and accessories. But as far as the business itself, it's it's kind of half and half. Like on the one hand, it allows an outlet for my creativity. Like I never really thought of myself as creative, but apparently I am. Apparently, so yeah, and
Relatable.
it's been fun the last couple of years, kind of seeing like where I can go with that. On the flip side, part of a big part of being in the business that I am is marketing. Like you have to get in front of as many people as possible, and I'm not built for that. It's hard because like I just I
Definitely.
I work real hard to get to the point, and I realize that I'm working hard to get to the point where I can hire somebody to take care of the marketing, and I can worry about just coming up with cool designs because I don't like it. But it's
Mhm.
it's part
Yeah.
of the job. But yeah, like for me, it's kind of it's half and half as far as as far as um, running a business.
It's interesting actually, because I think I subconsciously selected a career that allows me to be like behind the scenes. But to your point, like
Mhm.
my brand is very like personal brand based. So like I use my name, for instance. So like my face needs to be present.
Right.
So like even navigating like I don't do video like ever. Like there's probably a lot of people on Instagram that have never heard my voice. Like so because I'm
Okay.
constantly posting text, very rarely do I record myself talking. And sometimes I feel badly
Mhm.
about that and like maybe it's holding me back. And then other times I'm like, okay. I just move on from
Yeah,
that thought.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I for the longest time hated video, and then I didn't stop making videos, and now I avoid videos if I can. So it's kind of ebbs and flows.
Mhm. Yeah. I think again it comes back to that
um,
am I using it as an excuse or like is challenging myself too much? Do I feel like I need to challenge myself all the time? Is that also right or
mhm.
wrong? Yeah. It's interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think that the internet is such a cool place for like introverts to be able to find their voice and just kind
Mhm.
of play around and get creative and like before I was on the internet, I literally didn't talk. Like and now I have multiple podcasts, so I don't know how that, like the internet kind of taught me, like, oh, you actually can talk and you actually have some interesting stuff to say. At least I think so.
Definitely.
And it's pretty wild how, like, you know, it's not like before I didn't talk to anyone or didn't have any friends. I just, like, I was so, like, I don't know, like, lost in my own little world. And of all things, the internet is what taught me how to, like, socialize more and show up and use my voice and recognize that what I have to say is important.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
And I think, like, at least at the stage I'm at now, I forget how scary it is in the beginning to even just have people that
yeah,
know you hear you talk about things. Like, for me, the biggest hump in the beginning was, like, freaking Joe that worked in the kitchen I used to work at, like, is going to see
yeah,
me talk about this, and, like, what's he going to think? And then that's, like, the biggest
yeah,
hurdle for a lot of the people I even work with now. Um, like, what are people going to think of me? Like, the strangers are actually less
absolutely.
worrisome. Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God, I find that 100%. And I actually think that the reason that I was able to really open up over the last year, like completely and just like kind of let go of all my inhibitions, well, not really, but like a little bit, is because I started posting on Threads, and like my friends and family and coworkers aren't on there yet.
Yeah, I would
So
imagine
it's like
the coworker thing would be hard.
the coworkers is really hard. I actually kind of had like a moment last April, it was about a year ago, where I made a personal Instagram, like just like my friends and family, and I removed pretty much everybody that I work with from my business account. I pretty much removed everybody in my personal life as followers, and I like unfollowed them, and I just kind of separated the
Hmm.
two. I was like, if you're my friends and family, you follow this account, and if I don't know you, you can follow this account. And I've slowly started letting people back in because I was just so uncomfortable. I'm like, why am I showing up here if I'm not being completely honest because I feel uncomfortable because too many people are like in my space.
Yeah, and I think that's a great
So,
tip for anybody is to like not feel like you need to
mhm.
push it, just to like not everything needs to feel as hard as possible in order for it to
Yeah.
be worthwhile an achievement. Like I think
Right.
that's a great first step is just remove them from your list
Yeah.
and put them somewhere
Right.
else.
Like I would rather have, yeah, exactly, park them somewhere else, like
Yeah.
redirect. I literally made a post, and I think I pissed a lot of people off. I was, I was like, hey, you might notice that you're no longer following me in a couple of days. That's a me thing, not a you thing. And it really was. It had nothing
Definitely.
to do with them. Yeah. I'm like, I'll let you guys come back soon, but I just trust me.
And
When you come
also,
back, it'll be because I'm ready.
it's a really great way to filter out the humans that you probably don't want to be hanging with anyway. So if they're going to
Yeah,
be,
exactly.
yeah, hard on you about it.
Exactly. And now I'm still getting like, did you really remove me? I was one of the people that you removed. I'm like, look, it's because we like hang out and we go out and we drink together, and I just don't want to hear about like that thing that I posted on Tuesday night when I was like in my feels.
I have no patience for
um,
that at
yeah.
all. I have like
Right, like
three
I'm like
friends
we're in a
at this stage of my
meeting.
life. Yeah.
It just it was too much. I'm like, you guys are here for this, you guys are here for this. I'm gonna get in trouble. I hope none of them listen to this episode.
No, it's old news now. I think the posting is great. It's not
Oh
like you
no.
hid it, like you let them know. It's not
Yeah.
like you just like gaslit them and we're like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're definitely
Right.
still
Right.
following
I was
me.
very honest, and
Yeah.
now they're allowed back. You're all allowed back. Um,
You're all allowed
um,
back.
you're all allowed to come back if you want. You might not want to now.
That's my favorite part of it. I
Um,
was like, do you even want, like, why do you want to follow this? For me specifically, like, I'm going to be talking about
yeah,
copywriting and content for business owners. Like, it is zero relevance to you. But
Exactly.
okay, sure, come on back.
Right, exactly. Come on back. You're invited if you want.
You know what? Some of those like people that I used to work in restaurants now, like way back when, um, kitchen guys still follow me and still like a lot of my stuff. So my OG fans,
Interesting.
let's say, it's great. It's a good,
I love you all.
yeah, it's a good reminder of like, remember when I used to care and didn't say things
Yeah,
because of that human.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is nice. It is nice to know, like, if they did it, like if they do occasionally pop back in, I'm like, okay, welcome back.
It's a
um,
milestone.
but exactly. I actually, speaking of all of the dogs, which we were talking about earlier, I'm being summoned
What a great segue.
right now. That is the worst segue I've ever made, but thank you, Steph Laffey. I appreciate it. I'm being summoned and bitten by multiple dogs.
I understand. I have scratching happening at my door.
Oh no. So before we let you go, is there anything that you want to plug? Anything that you want to tell our listeners?
Well, if anybody's an online business owner or business owner generally speaking, and they need support with their copywriting or content or marketing, you can find me at Steph Laffy, shocker, on Instagram.
No, there's no E.
There's
Steph
no E.
Laffy with
Laffy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And you can find all the links to all the things there. As we were just talking about, all people are welcome. If I know you from once upon a time, come on back.
I love it.
But this has been great, guys. What a fun chat.
This is so fun. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm glad we did this.
Me too.
And we're very excited for everybody to tell us, what you thought of having two Steph Laffys and whether we should get the third and the fourth and the fifth one on as well.
An Inceptions type situation.
Yeah. This is like, what is that? Twilight Zone.
Yes.
Podcast edition.
Yeah,
So, this was the Stay Introverted podcast. If you guys loved the episode and the show in general, be sure to follow it, like it, share it, rate it, review it, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Stay introverted, y'all. See you next time.